Kia ora everyone. We'll be starting with karakia and then some introductions. So I'm going to pass over to Simone. Kick us off. Kia ora.
Ka tingata tātou I te karakia. Wai a te mātauranga kia marama, kia tipu, kia tiaki, ngā whenua, ngā moana, ngā aroai. Kia whaitake e ngā mahi katoa. Aroha atu, aroha mai, tātou ia tātou. Toi te kupu, toi te mana, toi tū te whenua, haumi e, hui e, tāiki e.
Kia ora. Kia ora. Kia ora koutou. He mihi. Ko taupiri te maunga, ko waikato te awa, ko Whenua te roto, ko waira aerangi te iwi, no rahu I pōkeka ahau, ko toitu te whenua ahau e mahi ana, ko Dwayne Wilkins toko ingoa. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, and welcome to our wānanga today. Let's just, oops, I just clicked everyone off the screen. Hang on. Where you gone? Come back. Come back. Oh, everybody's fallen off. Aloha mai. Okay, forget that. So today we are going to be having a kōrero about GIS mapping and training. And for those of you who have joined us, not sure what GIS mapping is of course using the tools, technology, people, processes to share information, to capture, to record information. And so we'll be talking with Jordon Traill today, who is the program manager for this Micro-Credential course. He's based in Invercargill and at the Southern Institute of Technology. So little housekeeping, we'll hand to Jordon to give his kōrero. If you have any pātai, any questions, please do feel free to put them in the chat. If you've got more detailed questions, we'll pause the recording after Jordon's had his kōrero and we'll go into as much detail about those pātai as you wish. And then depending on how time goes, if all going well, if we have a bit of time spare, we'll have a look at some other resources that we've been preparing lately as well. So just a polite request to mute your microphone if you're not actively jumping in with some urgent kōrero or some urgent pātai. Otherwise, I'm going to hand over to you, Jordon.
Cool, thank you. Well, kia ora koutou. My name's Jordon Traill, the SIT, Southern Institute of Technology. Yeah, it's great to be here and talking to you all. I think I'll share my screen. So I will work out how to do this now. Too many computer screens.
There'll be that one. Yep. So we can see your PowerPoint just now.
Cool, fantastic. Yeah, feel free to. Oops, that's not how I want to do it. Uh-oh.
That's all right. Don't worry, Jordon. Just have a click around until you get it right.
Yeah, nice.
There you go.
Sweet as. Well, yeah, welcome. So thought I'd feel free to ask any questions as well that you might have. So I'm not a GIS expert. I am an educator, and so I'm not really even a GIS educator. But we had this course we set up at SIT a couple of years ago. It was created after a request from the Hokanui Runanga. So we put some students through and designed a course for teaching people how to work in GIS and how to work specifically at the ArcGIS Pro software. And then after that, so that was in 2022, and then 2023, 2024, 2025, word got out and the program, obviously, people enjoyed and they told each other. And so we've got pretty, continued interest in the program ever since. So I think we've had 300 students through the Micro-Credential since we started. So it's really good to know that so many people around New Zealand are studying GIS and getting the ArcGIS Pro software knowledge through this course? Yeah, so the level of the course, it's a really good question that popped up. It is level 6. So it's the NZQA qualification level 6. So for those people that don't really know the frameworks, it's a little bit of a minefield, to be honest. It's level 6 would probably be like second year bachelor degree. That's the level. So if you've got a level 5, then you get immediate entry into the level 6. But if you've got experience in the outdoors and working with computer software and mapping, anything that would relate to mapping, then you put your CV or application in and make that clear, and we'll assess it on a case-by-case basis. And if you're interested and passionate, then you put that in the CV or the cover letter, and then we'll probably consider the application and grant you entry into the course. So it's not a super academic place. We're a polytech. We're focused on getting people the skills they need instead of the academic expertise. I think we were all about skills focused. But yeah, so feel free to ask any questions. I'll just keep talking about it because I could talk about this course for hours and hours. I'll try not to. But what the idea is the micro-credentials made for people to get a bit more knowledge on ArcGIS Pro software. So there's other courses on QGIS that's slightly different, and we're focusing on ArcGIS. So we run, I'll go on to the next slide actually. What we do, so that is the industry gold standard really, GIS, ArcGIS Pro. So you learn basically how to create these maps. Students that start, we have students enter the course from all walks of life, all varying degrees of computer knowledge, all varying degrees of map making knowledge. Some students know the previous software really well. They're experts in ArcGIS, maybe from 5 years ago, and they're, hey, it's time for me to get a refresh. And so they do this course and they have so much knowledge already in there. Other students start from, hey, I'm interested in maps and let's see where it takes me. And they haven't ever gone on to any software before about map making. So we all start at the same point. And the idea of the course is you find your own path a little bit. We all go to a certain point together, and then you find your own path with the help of the tutors. But at the end, everyone's creating GIS maps. That's what we want everyone to do at the end. And then that GIS map making includes some sort of spatial analysis where we ask a spatial question and then you solve it using the skills on ArcGIS Pro that you learned. I don't know how much you go into all the various parts of maps, but there's rasters and vectors and overlays and buffers, which are a key part of understanding spatial systems. So we go into that quite a lot, and you'll be able to talk the talk and walk the walk and make the maps based off that. Another big part of map making is playing with the data, so inputting the data, importing the data, and mixing it around in a way that means that you can make some meaningful information on your map, so meaningful spatial information. So we go through that as well in detail, looking at how to make a map look pretty or the standard approach, what's expected. And then also making new information on maps. So there's one way to make maps is bringing information in and creating a map out of that, or putting new information into a map and creating geodatabases and feature classes and things like that. So we go into that, and it takes a whole semester. So it's over 17 weeks. And by the end of it, you've sort of analyzed your data and created some new spatial information. And then that's part of an assessment, really. So yeah, I think there was a question about whether you have to be in Invercargill or not to do this course. So you can do it from anywhere. We've set it up. We've set up the course that you can call in. It's an online course, but with a tutor in real time, kind of like these webinars. So you have someone to chat to, conversations to be had around the theory behind the maps and like coordinate systems and all the jargon that you need to know in order to be able to navigate through the software and know what the software is asking you and how to make the software work for you and what you want to be able to do on that. So you can study from anywhere. You can study from anywhere with a internet connection, really. We have students often that are like, oh, I'm going overseas for 2 weeks and I'm not going to be able to call in on the classes. But all the classes are recorded, so you can go through the tutorials at your own time. Lots of students find this really helpful when you're making your own project, because there'll be a point where you're like, oh, I know how to do this. I was taught how to do this. I just need to do this one little work through, and I am so lost. But I learned this in week 4, and actually I can just go through the lecture then and see what the tutor was doing, and those like 25 steps or whatever, and then you can do it yourself based on those recordings. So that's really helpful. And that's sort of what we kind of expect with students. We sort of build that into the course that you'll go and use, sometimes watch a lecture more than once. So we don't have lectures every single week. Students will have some time set aside to sift through that stuff. It just ends up being sort of necessary, I guess, as you go along. So it's all online and in real time. So you can be there in the lecture, and if you can't make it that week, then you can listen to a recording as well. I was a student of, so we ran this course with the Hokanui Runanga in 2022, and then in 2023, I decided that I wanted to study it. So I thought I needed some map making skills of my own. So the tutor had the awkward scenario of having his boss as his student. But it was a really good course. I found it really, really helpful. And I think it's good that we have some really practical actions that we take away from it. So this is what I did in the course. I'm an ecologist or a botanist by training, so I need to use maps, but I'm more focused on the plants at a very fine scale. So being able to present this information, know how to present this information, and make my own maps was really, really helpful for my research. So we've got a map basically looking at how this ecosystem has changed over time using historical imagery and data that I collected. And this was basically the project that I did in the paper. And the tutor said he really, really liked it. But as I said, I was his boss, so maybe a bit biased. I didn't get the best mark in the course, so that was fine. But this is sort of what we do in the paper. If you've got a question you want to ask, like my question was, hey, what's happened to the red tussock in this area near Invercargill over the last 80 years? So then the tutor said, hey, you can access the data here and here and here, and you could try and use this system and this spatial analysis tool. So he helped me out, and then I was able to map it over time and really explain pretty effectively how it's changed and present that in a really clear way. So yeah, I could talk about this grass forever, but I'll try not to. But that's sort of the main outcome of the course, is getting stuck in, learning what you need to know to navigate the software, and then get stuck in and make some maps that you would find interesting, you'd like to create. So and it doesn't need to be ecology, it can be anything. There's a really interesting field of map making called participatory mapping, where you're mapping social values over a landscape. You can mix social values and environmental components over a landscape, and you can mix all these things together. You learn this in the course, mix all these different layers. So it could be a social layer, it could be an environmental layer, it could be an economic layer, it could be topography, it could be soil, it could be anything. And you mix them all together and you end up making meaningful data that tells something new. And that's basically what the beauty of a map is. I think since this course, I've loved looking at maps now. It's opened up a new way of thinking for me. And I can understand maps a little bit better too. So,
Jordan,
yeah.
just a couple of questions here for you. I just wonder if you could explain the fee structure and the next placements.
Yeah, so the fee, SIT is famous for its zero fees scheme. So we're all about affordable study and practical skills. So we've got, so this is a really affordable course. There's no tuition fees, but there are fees associated with the software and delivering the course. So that's part of the material fees, which is I think $208 for the semester. So it's about $208 to learn all these skills, and yeah, pretty affordable, I think. Definitely the most affordable course on ArcGIS Pro software out there.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so we are pretty popular. It could be because it's a good course, could be because it's an affordable course. But we're running 3 intakes this year, and one starts on Monday, which is full. So all our intakes usually get full pretty early. We've got another intake in July, but if you're interested, definitely encourage you to enroll for that one in July, because there's still places available then. Like I said, if you don't have a level 5 NZQA piece of paper, then with your enrollment, put in like a little blurb saying why you want to enroll and what sort of your own skills you can bring, the existing skills you have as an individual. And if that doesn't match up with NZQA, then yeah, it's not the end of the world. But,
Jordan, have a question there for you from Shenandoah.
oh yeah.
Make sure you're unmuted. Hang on.
Yep, I'm unmuted.
Oh, sweet.
So I have 2 questions for you. The first one is, I'm trying to enroll now, but it's asking, and like, do I need to enroll into the environmental management program or something to be able to pull? Doesn't give Micro-Credential as an option.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Is that our website?
Oh, you know what? Not only I've selected, I picked up sit to learn distance learning.
Yeah, so it's a little bit confusing. This is confusing. So there's the because I'm in the School of Environmental Management. We're in our own faculty with Health and Humanities, and there's another faculty sit online with the online learning, and they have their own environmental management qualification level 4, and the internet doesn't really talk to each other very well. So we definitely have, I'll post it on the chat actually, the website, just so you all know which part of our website to go to. Yeah, but the reality is we have affordable fees if we don't spend too much money on fancy websites.
Right.
But there's the information there. So you should be able to enroll for the last intake of the year, which is on the 27th of July. And if you follow that link, that should work.
Cool.
Is this the latest message in the chat?
Yes.
Yeah, so accept all cookies. So we are enrolling for the Invercargill HyFlex campus?
Yeah, Invercargill HyFlex. So HyFlex basically means you can study on site, online, or from distance. One thing is our tutors aren't based in Invercargill anymore, so we can't offer them. You won't have your tutor in person in Invercargill, they'll always be online. And our tutors are GIS analysts, so they work in councils and in the GIS teams and councils, and they do this in the nighttime on their own, for their own interest, really.
Nice.
Did you have another question? Sorry, Shandor.
Yeah, the second one is, it's really important for me to get started ASAP. And I know you said this Monday's one was full, but I came here not knowing that was going to get. Is there any way of getting on to Monday's one?
I would love to say yes, but we unfortunately, so 1 second, sorry.
Got students.
So yeah, sorry about that. Wait, sorry, I was interrupted. Yeah, so the Monday one, I would love to say there's spots available, but unfortunately there's a big wait list as well. We need to treat everyone.
All right.
Yeah, fairly. So the definitely, the July, but we'll be offering 3 intakes a year. So definitely encourage the July. Unfortunately, Monday's just not a go. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Shenandoah, I can help you out with some things to do in the meantime that productive.
Okay,
get
cool.
you started with stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Put that in the chat after. Cool.
Okay, thank you very much. Yep, that's me.
Nice. I think
Thanks,
just
Elizabeth.
quickly, if I got time, to talk about how we structure the course. So there's like the first section is all about the theory and tutorials and learning how to navigate the software. And the second section, you get some GIS coaching from your tutor. So we don't really do the lectures the whole way through. We try and find you a project, or you find a project yourself, and then your tutor will become a bit like your coach and say, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? This would be a good way. So you sort of do one-on-one sessions and chip away at your own project. And at the end of the course, everyone comes together and shares what they created and shares their process. So it's really nice. You get people from all over New Zealand with all their different projects coming together and sharing and chatting. And yeah, it's quite a nice way to finish a little project. But that's about all I had to say about it. But happy to take any further questions as well.
One question there for you, Jordan from Cameron. So what's the recommended study time per week to help cope with the learning load?
Yeah. So it can be a little bit overwhelming for some, I think. For the lectures and tutorials, probably 3 hours. So on a Monday, set aside 3 hours, or any other time. They usually take place on a Monday in real time. Set aside 3 hours, and that should keep you through going the whole time. So that would be lectures and tutorials to start with, and then work on your own at your own pace halfway through the semester with the support from the tutor. So one evening aside a week would probably mean that you can get through it. Typically a Monday, it helps a lot to be in person at the time, because you can ask all the questions to the tutor right then and there. Because at least for me, computers and my brain just don't always match up very well. So having someone to come to ask you silly questions too helps. And yeah, any further questions?
Yes, we do. It's just not showing the name up on my Lani.
Lani, kia ora.
Kia ora.
Monday, is that during work hours, or is that at night?
No, it's nighttime, yeah. So it starts at, I think, 7, goes for 2 hours. So have dinner and then sit down at the computer, or sit down at the computer with dinner. That's what I have to do sometimes. Yeah, but it's all recorded. So if that doesn't work for you, there's options to make it work at any time.
Sorry, and there's one more question I've got. I actually can't see the chat for some reason, so I don't have any links. Can the organisers or somebody send out the links to people on this page by any chance? Please?
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you. That's all my questions. Thanks very much.
No worries.
Kate has a question, Jordan. Just in terms of the application form, who do you send it to?
Yeah, so it's all done online. So if you go to that website, click on enroll for mcargill/HyFlex, or you can enroll via email. That should take you through to the enrollment section of the website.
Cool. Thanks, Matt. And Lisa, I think Lisa has pātai there.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko maua o te maunga, ko tauranga te moana. Nā te raukaua me nā te rangi o ku iwi. No papa moa ahau engari ko waihopai tōku kāinga e nai nei. Jordan, I just identified myself as hailing from the Bay of Plenty on my mother's side, I te taha tōku whaia. But I just wanted to commend the course to people. I'm a great supporter. My son, Josh, is one of the tutors. And I certainly wished, when I spent 3 years as a trustee for our lands block up in the Kaimais when I was still at home. And the Ngā Manua Incorporation, and I certainly wish and can see how this service, or this capability could enhance so much around our ability to capture and knowledge and skills, but Yeah, so I just wanted to commend the course to you. I can't speak to Josh's reo skills, but yeah, certainly a great supporter. And his two boys on their mother's side hail from Ngāpuhi and Ngāti Haua. So yeah, even though we all live down here in Murihuku, yeah, certainly I got connectedness back up to home there. So yeah, really encourage everybody to get amongst it. And certainly Jordan, like you, when you had your when your person that reports to you was doing your assignments and stuff, I've often thought, man, I'd love to do that course. But hello, there's the tutor and
Well, you
my
might as
son.
well.
So.
Yeah, have your son as your tutor. Why not?
Yeah, yeah. So kia ora koutou. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on that.
Oh, thanks, Lisa. That's really good to to know Josh's mum as well. Yeah, Josh is a fantastic tutor. Really happy to have him in the team. He's excited to teach this year as well. He was teaching last year and is teaching again this semester. Cool. Oh, nice to meet you. I saw a question on the chat about story mapping. Yeah, so I think mapping, we figure that it's not just the physical overlays, there's social overlays as well, and there's so many different overlays you can put into a map. So there's the ArcGIS Online that we touch on at the very end of the paper. So we don't go into much detail on ArcGIS Online, but we do touch on it. And if you're really interested in story mapping and doing ArcGIS Online, especially for your project, the tutors can help you out with that. So the tutors help. If you're a research project, you're like, hey, this is where I want to go, this is the direction I want, you know, within reason, they'll facilitate it if it's feasible. But there's also obviously some projects that will be really complex and would probably require someone with a few more years of experience. So we'll try and keep it at an achievable level for, you know, first timers on GIS.
Just a comment on that, Jordan, and Scotty had a query there in terms of story mapping. So we have a couple of sessions coming up on story mapping early this year. They're kind of not mutually exclusive either. The data, the course that we're discussing will provide you with the skills to be able to make vastly better maps than the very simple ones that we do typically for story maps. Anything like any mapping associated with environmental, taiao, moana, whenua, all of these kind of things, you need the data to be able to create those maps. And story maps help you then tell the story or share the more of a context around what that map is showing, but it definitely will improve significantly any story map work that you might want to do. Jordan, your picture looks like it's frozen up, but Thomas had a query about under suggested courses, do we start at Bachelor of Environmental Management first?
Well, Bachelor of Environmental Management is a great course. Encourage everyone to study, to get a degree with SIT. Again, no tuition fees. So we run the course HyFlex, so you can do it from anywhere in New Zealand, but you do have to come down to Invercargill every now and then to do a block course. So we have the degree and we teach GIS in the degree. So it's very similar. The course we do, the Micro-Credential was modeled off our course in our degree. So you could do the degree and then you wouldn't be doing the equivalent of the Micro-Credential within that, but you don't need to do a degree to do the Micro-Credential. You can do the Micro-Credential on its own and do this one little course on its own. And if you do end up deciding to do a degree, then that will be considered, you wouldn't need to redo that paper. So you'd have one less paper to do in the degree if you chose to do a degree later on. Yeah, but definitely recommend the degree. I love the degree, I teach in the degree. And Josh is a graduate from the degree, who's one of your tutors.
Jordan had a question there from Kate, if you want to unmute Kate.
Kia ora. I've just when you're on the website that you posted, and it's only just because the two options for enrolling, it either says enroll for Invercargill/HyFlex or enroll via email. So presumably you don't do the enroll for Invercargill HyFlex if it's not HyFlex. So it's only the email one. So then who do you send? Like it provides you the PDF of the form.
Yeah, I totally understand. So sort of you enroll for Invercargill/HyFlex, because what HyFlex is study from anywhere.
Oh, okay. So you do have to do that. So you can't do the form.
You can enroll by email if you want, but enroll via either of those two really would work.
So who do you send the form to then? Where do you send the form to?
It would be to enrollments.
Okay.
At sit.ac. I'll write it in.
Thanks. Thank you.
And we'll share that link out as well.
But enroll for July. Definitely encourage everyone to do that, and do that quite. If you're interested, don't sit on your hands for too long, because it's very likely that the course will be fully subscribed in probably about by sometime in April, I'd say. Any further questions?
I've been enrolling since the link. I'm still going through the enrollment process.
Oh, nice. Yeah, cool. You're onto it. Good to hear. Yeah. But I encourage everyone to join the course. I think it's a great course, and we'll be offering it next year as well. You don't get on this time. If July second semester doesn't suit you, have a go at next year.
Jordan, I have a pātai for you. Very quickly, just to Maya, your query. Yes, the recording will be available. My question, Jordan, is in relation to the software. The fee that you mentioned that is required. The course fees are fees free, but the I'm sorry, what you called it?
Yeah, material cost.
Is it the license fee, and is that required if you have your own license for ArcGIS?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're required to provide a license to all our students. So we need to provide the license, and we need to be able to have that within our SIT system. So I would love to be able to say, hey, bring your own software and reduce the costs, but we're just required to have that support in place. So if we say that you need the software, we provide the software. Yep. So unfortunately, we can't get around to it. I'm really sorry.
Cameron's got a question about a decent computer, but maybe I could do that one for you. Jordan is Cameron. Typically, if it's got anything more than 8 gigs of RAM, or the computer is less than 3 or 4 years old, it's probably fine. It's the computer that I'm using here, that I do my GIS on for this Whenua series, is almost 10 years old now. It was a good one when it came out, but it's got 16 gigs RAM, and using QGIS and ArcGIS, it works fine. The lower end, what you run into is issues with 3D. If you really want to get into 3D, then you probably want to think about, for example, if you'd spent about $1,000 on a laptop in the past 2, 3, 4 years, that is probably going to be fine. If it's 5, 6, 7 years old and doesn't really have a separate graphics card, or if it's a Chromebook, it probably won't work the ideal for the 3D stuff, but it will eventually get there. It just means it goes a little bit slower, and you take into account that you load up a bit less data and you make your study area nice and small and thing. macOS won't work with ArcGIS Pro currently, but you can run, I understand, a Windows session within macOS, which it will run on. And I've done that before when I had a MacBook Air several years ago. I've forgotten how to do it just now. But you can do it on a Mac. You just have to have an understanding of how you do that Windows session to run ArcGIS Pro. QGIS will run on Mac OS natively, but it's not the software they're doing for the course. And I should mention that ArcGIS Pro is the Microsoft of GIS mapping. So it's the same thing that all the councils, all the government agencies, most of the companies use. So it's good to understand because it means you can leverage that data from councils and other things as well, which is coming in our next wānanga. And one there from Alicia, and maybe if I could do this one too, Jordan, it's when you finish the course, to carry on using ArcGIS Pro, which is the desktop software, you do need to have an account/license. I currently use a personal license, although I also have one through Mahi, and that is, I think it's about $200 a year, and I also get the storage credits because I mostly use for story maps and for online apps. And then question there from Carl. Students using their work computers be able to do that? I would probably say if you're doing the course, Carl, you probably would need to do it on your home computer, because if it's ArcGIS Pro desktop focused, you wouldn't be able to do it on a work computer.
We do have a lot of like Crown agencies and councils that send people through the course, or the people do the course. And I think if you talk to your IT department in your Crown agency or where you work and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, if it relates to your work in any way, I think that'd be supportive.
Yeah.
Just depends on the case.
Yeah, I know it's tough to get specific software installed sometimes.
Nice.
All right.
Well, thanks for having me speak to everyone. Yeah, really appreciate given the opportunity to talk to you all.
Jordan, one question there from Courtney. 3 of us in the same organisation will be enrolling for the next intake. Is it possible to invoice or pay with a purchase order number?
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't do all the finances at SIT. Put it in, when you enroll, say enroll with invoice, and I think the enrollment team will be able to sort it out. I think they'll be able to sort out 3 payments at once under the one invoice. That would seem like a smart thing to do. I think enrollments will be able to help you with that and just do it, in one purchase order.
Awesome.
I might just read out something I put in the chat there, Dwayne and Jordan, because Imogen, who did the course first semester 2025, she was going to come along and provide some feedback on how she found the course, but it's probably worth reading out in the chat. She emailed it in to me because she was training at football on Tuesday and got hit, so she's not feeling all the best at the moment. But here's what she says about the course. The course taught me all the basics about GIS Pro and spatial analysis. It gave me the tools to create my own maps independently and think critically about spatial information. And this has been really useful in my conservation work, helped our team to make better sense of the area we are working in, and helped us make conservation decisions to get better outcomes and apply for grants and discuss our kaupapa with other groups. An example of this is fisheries, where we're able to show on a map where the critical areas were, and now we're starting to see more action on the hauiho protection at sea. I feel grateful that I did the course, especially when job adverts ask for GIS as a skill. I know that I can do that. I would say the course took about 3 hours per week, with more hours put in around the assignments. And if I missed a class, I would have to catch up the next week. And sometimes I did struggle to juggle the course with work, but I did manage it. And now I've completed the course. I'm proud of myself. The tutors are also friendly and open to answer questions and provide help over email and Zoom. And overall, I would recommend the SIT course as the best course online for GIS. Also encourage people to apply for the Tautu to Whenua Lynn scholarship, because even though the SIT fees are free, their course material costs of fees of around about $320, Imogen says, getting that back at the end because of the scholarship was a really good motivator, and it's given me the opportunity to stay involved with GIS outside my study. So yeah, some pretty positive feedback there about how Imogen found the course and now is applying it with her work at Forest and Bird.
That's great to hear.
Thanks, Chip.
But yeah, I also put in the chat the link to the Toitu Te Whenua Lynn's tertiary GIS scholarships. They've been going since 2018 each year, and there's a call for applications around September, October each year. So I'll put the link in the chat to the webpage if you're interested in that. Have a look on September, October. If we do it again this year.
We do try and reserve places for students under that scholarship as well. So unfortunately not for next week, not for Monday, but yeah, try and get in on the scholarship as well, because it's definitely a good way to do it.
We do have some suggestions to keep you busy in the meantime to help you learn some geospatial stuff. So I'm just wondering if we round off here, Jordan, and thank you very much. And yeah, I look forward to hearing back from anyone that does join up in the course and wants to share their story. I mean, that would be really much appreciated. And at the end of the year, we do find chocolate and posters and other prizes and pretty informal show and tell. So it'd be great to hear back from anyone who does go through the course. Welcome to hang around, Jordan, if you'd like. What I'm going to do is just show a couple of resources, share a couple of resources that we've prepared and used as part of the Whānau series. So I'll just share my screen for a moment. And this will keep you busy all weekend, Whānau, all weekend. So be careful what you wish for. So here we go. What I need is this. So I'll start from the beginning. There are two sites I'm keen to share with you. One is a resource site. So if you go matawhenua.com, it forwards to this page. Can I just check that you can see the pretty graphics?
No, we can't, Dwayne. It looks like you're not sharing your screen.
It was sharing and now it's gone.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try that again. Share screen.
Yeah, that's
Coming up
now. Yeah.
So, because the chat will disappear once we jump off the call, there are two things I want you to write down. Number one, matawhenua.com. Go to matawhenua.com, and in here is links to all kinds of story maps and things that we've been working through over the past year or so, and a few other tutu things. And this is the one that I want you to have a look at, particularly if you're interested in filling that gap between now and when the course starts. So QGIS, if you want to have a go, it's available to download for free. And what we've got is you can download it there, and then there's also a series of data sets, and if that picture comes up, this gives you an example. It's kind of out of the box, ready to go desktop GIS, very similar to ArcGIS Pro, but not quite as slick. But you can download the software, download the data in the project, you extract it just based on the guidance on this page, and that's it. Open it up and it will look like this on your computer, and that will run on any computer that you can install QGIS on. The more money you've spent on the computer, the more fast it comes, but you don't need a fancy computer to be able to run this. And anything in the last 5 or 6 years will do it. So there is the data to download, 1.7 gigs. So just keep in mind if you've got limited bandwidth on the internet, nighttime, late at night's a good time to kick that off. There's QGIS videos, training manuals, and other things as well. So that's the first one. Just wanted to point that out, and that'll keep you busy for at least a couple of hours. There's all kinds of story maps and data sets, data sources, imagery, where to find imagery, all kinds of stuff. Historical photos back from 1936. Right?
Can you just drop that in the chat, because I'm obviously not going to the right places.
Matawhenua.com. I'll put that in the chat.
Right.
Just
Okay.
plain MATA Whenua.com.
Matawhenua.com. Okay.
Yep, that's the first one. So that'll keep you busy for a little while. And once you've got enthused and you're ready to go, okay, now how do I do this? Go to do a Google search for Māori GIS. Just do a Google search for Māori GIS. And the one you're looking for is Māori GIS Mapping, Māori GIS Guidebook. And this is something I randomly created over the summer. And it's not really tutorial. It's not really software. It's not instructions either. It's kind of something in the middle of, hey, I want to do some GIS. The context is Māori of whatever kind, whether it's rūranga for your hapū, for environmental project. And so you can search up the top right here. And it was very organized when I started, and then I started just pouring lots of stuff in there, and it kind of became a bit of a mess. But if I very quickly show you what's here, that's me getting started. So we've been talking about ArcGIS Pro Desktop. So what is it? Who's it for? There's also story maps. What is it? Who's it for? What it's good for? Google Earth, something else to have a to-do with. You can get that, put it on any PC that it will download, and I think Apple as well. Something we've come across, Kobo Toolbox, which is free data capture. So if you want to create a form and have control of the data and sovereignty of where that data is stored, then Kobo Toolbox is a good one to look up. Google My Maps, if you want a real simple, just a quick map done within 10-15 minutes. This location or this hekoi or this awa, this mountain, this maunga, but it's online. And there's one there for QGIS. Come down to here. There's all kinds of things like where to find stuff, where to, what did I put here? Publications. So all kinds of interesting publications that I just did a scrape off the interwebs of all kinds of related to Māori GIS and similar themes. Data sources in here, where to find Māori land, how to make a map, geospatial data catalogue, what's all out there, where to find it, and so on and so on. It goes all the way down. There's lots of things in here as well, like landlocked land. So if you wanted to find something like, let's say this RMA consents one, because I got a bit messy there, if you just start typing up here RMA, and you can see comes up there. Or if you want land blocks versus parcels. What's the difference between land blocks versus parcels? Here we go, a bit about titles, ownership, why parcels and blocks do not match sometimes, pitfalls. So there you go, that is enough to keep you busy over the weekend. And at the bottom of the page here, it links to that Matawhenua as well. So I think there's bound to be something in there that will get you enthused over the weekend. That first site is matawhenua.com. The second site is maorigis.nz, or if you just search Māori GIS, it'll come up. It was a little bit unplanned, and I kind of just did it randomly one weekend and then got carried away. But yeah, that's the runner-up prize for those of you who can't get enrolled for. Unfortunately, we didn't realize that either of the courses for, but it'll be good background stuff. I think that course content is going to give you a really good foundation. Question there from Lillian, wahi tapu. So the course will provide you with the tools and the skills to be able to map your wahi tapu in as much detail as you require. And then, but in relation, if it's in relation to the Matawhenua, it doesn't really go into the step-by-step detail of click here, click here, click here. It's kind of like, that's what the Southern Institute course is about, is click here, click this, do this process, this step. Those couple of sites I just showed you are kind of like, hey, here's what's possible. Here's what things we've done as part of our mahi, as part of the Wānau series. Here's some ideas to give, to show what's possible. And then that second site, the Māori GIS one, is kind of, hey, I want to do something about RMA, something or other. Then it gives some ideas, some guidance, perhaps some thoughts of how might you do that. And something else that's coming up. So there's 3 sessions coming up this year that are all tied into all of this mahi. Next month, we're talking about regional council data, and we're starting with Bay of Plenty. They're coming along to share the data that they make available. But by extension, any other regional council, we've often been kind of a bit cheeky, and I say yeah, that's front door's nice, but we'll just put our hand around the back and we'll just grab it ourselves. Thank you very much. That's the kind of stuff that I like, showing how to do that and sharing how to do that. And we'll kind of do a bit of that next month. And then after that, we'll be doing story maps, because the maps and the data is great, but if you can't help people understand it or use it to convince people of some solution or some problem, then the data and all the time we spend on data and mapping is lost. So that's why I really enjoy sharing those story maps as well. And that'll be, some part of that is the imagery, the text, the corded or the narrative. A little bit, we'll do some very simple 3D, because we'll go from place to place to place as part of those story maps. But yeah, they'll be quite good. They're coming up. Council data next month, and then story maps 1, and then story maps 2.
Oh,
So
Dwayne, maybe in April we might have GeoNet from Earth Sciences
cool.
coming along, and then story maps May and June.
After that, cool, sweet, all good. And of course that data as well, we scoop that up and we use it. We can use that in story maps. We can use it in desktop maps. But that, I really recommend that that course if you can get on it. The content looks really solid. I think it's a really good way to go. Okay, I'll just put in the chat those 2 links, and then I think if there's no further pātai, I think that's probably us for today.
Dwayne, I might close this out with the karakia, but whānau, just for your info, I've put 2 nieces on this course, and their knowledge when they first started out was quite small. Now they're building these maps that Lillian, you talked about, mapping wahi tapu. So get on it, whānau, for the cost. You can do some epic things, and you'll be really, really valuable to any of your organisations or any of the trusts that you sit on, or even just for your whānau. So highly recommend it, whānau. Okay. Ko e te kaupapa, ka rea ngā hua, ka rere ngā arawai, kua mau te mātauranga, hei arahina ngā mahi katoa o tātou toitu, o toitu te whenua, kia tau te rangi Māria, ki runga i a tātou katoa, haumi e, hui e, tāiki.
Thank you.
Whānau, I'm really excited about this course. I was really happy to have this one come up. And we'll try and get the next courses briefed to you, the next webinars briefed to you ahead of time, so that you can be a bit more, we can be a bit more prepared for you.
Right.
Cool.
Kia ora. Kia ora, everyone. Have a good weekend. Hopefully I didn't ruin it with those 2 websites. Or maybe hopefully I did. Ka kite.
Kia ora. Ka kite.
That's some good info, Dwayne. those websites.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you did that over the Christmas block.
Yeah, yeah. I had it all sitting there in a Word document, a lot of it, and wasn't sure what to do with it. And I thought, oh, I'll just stick it on, make a website. And ChatGPT had to make a website.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Here's my content, make the website.
I just
That's
boosted those.
that's your weekend
links out
taken up,
from other
Simone.
people.
Yeah.
Still got half the stuff that our whānau here at Lynn's require us to do, Jeff.
Yeah.
So that was good. That was real good, eh?
It was good, yeah.
Yeah, that course, the February course, I think I got my niece to take a look at it, I think October, November or something. And even when she jumped on or enrolled, it was already filling up. It was really tight.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone. Hopefully have a great weekend, and we'll see you next month.